Cut short, basically, introduction to cybersecurity, its importance and domains. So basically, there is an organization named as NIST, that is National Institute
NIST,
for
NIST पता
NIST.
है.
Yeah. So NIST has defined 8 domains of cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, SOC is one of the part, that is security operations. This is what SOC is a part of. Apart from that, as he was talking, architecture and engineering is altogether a different domain. They are basically
Mm-hmm.
into designing the networks securely and everything. It
यार
is
मैं
also,
अपना वीडियो बंद कर दूं.
sorry, yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
I wanted to ask you a couple of questions here. The point number 7 that you have there. By the way, ये मुझे मिलेगा कि is this the one you're referring that you will share with me, or is there something else?
Though I'm sharing a PDF, that is a little different.
नहीं ये PDF है, PowerPoint है ये. Is it a PowerPoint presentation that you're talking about, that you don't want to share, but PDF is one you want to share, right?
That's what I want to say. But if it is required, मैं ये भी दे दूंगा, कोई इशू नहीं है.
कोई नहीं यार. I mean, मुझे अगर देना नहीं है तो कोई नहीं, मुझे स्क्रीनशॉट्स दे दो. अगर नहीं देना है तो स्क्रीनशॉट्स दे दो. Because I just want I have a couple of questions here, right?
Okay.
I'm pretty vested into asset management, asset security, security risk, security architecture, and obviously point number 7 that you're talking about, which is security operations, SOC, which underlines the operational level of all these 1, 2, 3. मुझे 4 की जरूरत नहीं है. 5 IAM pretty stock standard for me. I do that on a day-to-day basis. Software developmental security, so app level है ये. Okay, I got this. Keep going.
Okay. So basically, these are the domains. And when, uh, okay, this is impact of what are the advantages of cybersecurity. I'm just avoiding all this since you are already, aware of all the things. So, what is cybersecurity? What are the advantages? What are the domains? That is what I've read. Now, the whole course I have designed in 8 sections. Oh, sorry, 6 sections. Which I last 2 sections I clubbed together later on. So basically, there are 5 sections. In the 5 sections, first section is about the networking concepts. So you just tell me that if you want this or not, that's up to you. Networking concepts is basically about the networks, like how a router works, how a switch works, what is TCP, IP, and OSI model, like IP addressing, what is internal IP that you are using, of course, on day-to-day basis, what are private IPs and what are public IPs, static and dynamic IPs, IP version 4, IP version 6, why it was needed, what is subnetting, what are common ports and protocols, because this becomes important when you are making any rule. Basically, how a security operation works. Security operation is all about the defensive security. On the counter hand, when we talk about the VAPT, or this domain number 6, security assessment and testing, this is mostly the offensive security, red team, which is called as. So they are basically the one who is keep on hunting and doing the vulnerability assessment and penetration testings, and they come up with the results. Okay, these are the vulnerabilities need to be patched, or this is how the attackers could come inside and do the damage. On the counter hand, security operations are basically works only when the alert, they get an alert. They have a system, they have some tools. On those tools, if they notice something, on the basis of their observations, they will proceed. So basically, security operations is highly dependent on the tools. Of course, security assessment do, but they do take actions before anything happened, and we take actions if we observe something. So basically, we need to know about the common ports and protocols, which could be the most vulnerable ports, why it is open for a particular server. Suppose there is a web server, why this port is open, and what different services are used for different ports. This is a common question used to be asked in the interviews as well. Then there is packet structure and flow, how the packet is there, what TCP packet contains, what is IP header, what is TCP header, what is payload, and everything. So this is all we cover in the networking concepts. Then we talk about the network security. Now it is also becomes important for security operation to know a little about firewalls. We are not going to design a firewall and how it has to be placed, or we are not going to apply the rules in the firewall. But at the same time, we need to know that how a firewall works, the overview of it, because we are collecting data from everywhere. The all the network security devices, all the servers, I mean, from everywhere, from networks, from cloud, from everywhere, we collect the data. That is called as a SIEM tool that I'm going to tell you further. So that is what the backbone of security operations is. SIEM tool, SIM tool. Even I'm not quite well from past few days, but as I get to know that you're going back to Australia, so I just keep on proceeding because I was about to tell to move it to next week. Okay, so firewall, about firewalls, like how a basic firewall works, what are the different types of firewall, how they differ in functioning, and what should be the how a firewall will be implemented, how it should be ideally implemented. All this we are going to cover in firewall. IDS IPS is intrusion detection system and intrusion prevention system. Again, one of the network security tool or device which is work complementing firewall, works hand in hand with the firewall based on signatures and anomaly based. After that, VPN you are using, of course, but what VPN does, what does DMZ work, how does DMZ work, what is demilitarized zone and why we use it, and then common network attack like MIMT, spoofing, sniffing, etc. So all this work we cover in the section 2, that is network security. There are some more points which I haven't included, like what is natting, what is patting, what is network address translation, port address translation, what is this uh, port scanning, port forwarding, etc. In the third section, we'll talk about some security concepts. This becomes very, very important from the security certifications point of view. Like what is CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What is AAA framework, authentication, authorization, accounting, non-repudiation, uh, digital certification. What is PKI? That is all what we cover in this. OWASP 10, I believe that you might have come across maybe. So this text talks about the top 10 critical web application vulnerabilities which are being exploited by the attackers in the past 4 years. Every 4 years, OWASP 10 updates its list. So the last one was 2017, then 2021. The recent 2025 need to be released. I think it will be released towards the end of the year. So every 4 year it's update and it will tell the top 10 critical web vulnerabilities. Then what is the incident life cycle? Suppose an incident occurs, so how it will be mitigated. So what should be the steps as a life cycle contains? What is preparation? What is eradication, and so on and so forth. So incident life cycle talks about the 6 steps included in it. Then myTectra framework and cyber kill chain. It basically defines about. So MyTrack framework and cyber kill chain. MyTrack framework is basically defines about the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by the uh, basically used by the attackers, and that can be used by the threat analysts as well. Whether it is a blue team or a red team, it will be helpful for all of them, because if you would understand the ideology of the attacker, not the ideology, the how they are proceeding, how they are getting inside the system, so then it will be easy for you to identify, to eradicate, to take the remedial steps basically. So MITRE attack divides the, it is a matrix, consists of 14 tactics, and there are more than 300 techniques, subdivided into 300 techniques. So TTPs in short we call as technique, tactics, and procedures. Sorry, tactic, techniques, and procedures. So tactics is the broadest category, then which are subdivided into techniques, and procedures are further subdivision. So MITRE attack defines, sorry,
Tactics, tactics,
tactics, techniques, and procedures.
second procedure. Okay, TTP. Okay, yeah.
Then cyber kill chain we'll talk about. Even these two topics are need to be, we'll talk about in comparison basis. Cyber kill chain consists of 7 steps. All those 7 steps are included, more or less included in the MITRE framework, 14 tactics. So yeah, this is what we are going to discuss in this. Then moving forward, we'll talk about the ZTS and DID. ZTS or
Zero trust, defense
sorry,
in depth. Yep, I'm
yeah,
just reading the slide.
ZTS you might have come across zero trust security and defense in depth. That is the most basic principle of cybersecurity nowadays. Even it becomes more important. According to NIST, it defines four different parameters to ensure zero trust security. Zero trust security, as a name says, basically the threat could be outside as well as inside. Zero trust means no trust, trust nothing, verify everything. So basically, if someone inside, that doesn't mean it could not, it does not make any threat to us. That is wrong. ZTS is basically concentrate on threat could be inside and outside. So how we can neutralize inside threats, outside threats. That is what zero trust security is all about. And defense in depth is the layering concepts in security. So this is a quite informational segment, I would say. uh, of course, the previous one will also be network security and networking concepts. Then we'll talk about the threat actors and type of attacks. By threat actors, we means how many types of attackers. What is phishing? uh, what are different types of attackers? I mean, there are hackivists, there are script kidders, categories of threat. There is ATPs. ATPs is APTs, advanced persistent threats. So what are advanced persistent threat? What are cyber criminal? What are insider threats? So categories of threat actors, that the motivation basically behind the uh, attack is divided into different parts. That is what division of threat actors. The social engineering techniques basically talks about offering services in exchange of information, or maybe manipulating someone uh, by talking to someone, or sending you a message or like that. So it basically contains a lot about phishing. uh, I know you are in the IT industry for so long, so might be you are aware, or might be you are surprised that 90 to 95% of cyber attacks starts from phishing. So that's why phishing becomes so much of a big concern, and so many trainings and all this going in corporate. Still, it happens that people, at times, one of the people click on some link or like that. So basically, why phishing is this much, and there is a lot of things, in my organization as well. We constantly receiving phishing emails, so we need to analyze them whether this is a phishing mail, or if it is a legitimate mail of it, or it is not a threat. So that is what we are going to cover in it. How the phishing mail will be categorized, like what is whaling, what is fair phishing, wishing, and uh, smishing, everything. Now, the malware types, when we talk about the threat actors, types of malware, what is malware, virus, worms, trojans, ransomware, spyware, greywares, and so on and so forth. So, what is the difference between a virus and a worm? How they differently proceed? What are trojans? What are rootkits? What are backdoors? So different types of malicious softwares are there, which are used by the attacker for different purposes. And for security operation guide, is important to understand the difference, and then identifying it whenever there is a malicious file is being there. So it is categorized, mostly it is being quarantined by the security systems, but it is categorized as a trojan, or as a backdoor, or at a rootkit, or whatsoever. So depending on the category, it is important to what they're going to do with that particular file or malware. So phishing is altogether a separate segment, and we'll talk about the phishing, mailings, phishing, wishing, etc. So this will be a little less social engineering attack. We'll talk about the social engineering attacks as well. How many categories are there? Phishing is one of them, and since phishing is important, so we'll going to cover it in broad manner. Now we'll talk about the other cyber attacks. Malware and malware analysis will all go in one way, right? How malware is analyzed by the security guys, like there is a static analysis, there is a dynamic analysis. Without executing the file, we'll try to collect the metadata of the file, when the file was created, when it was modified, what is the type of the file, and what is the path of the file, how it entered inside the organization or the network. So all this we are going to cover in the static analysis of malware. In the dynamic analysis, we run that malware, of course, in a safe environment, in a virtual environment. Usually, we do the sandboxing, and we'll try to analyze that what changes it is making to the system, whether it is corrupting the memory or the operating system, what changes it in making to the system. um, has it make any change to the registry keys and etc. So that is all we are going to analyze in the dynamic analysis while running, what are the changes it is making. That is one of the day-to-day activity of the security operations. We'll keep on observing the malware file, malicious files. So especially we don't analyze every single file we get, especially those which are being quarantined already or any action taken by the security tools. Then we are not getting worried. Uh, those files which are making a lateral movement. Lateral movement means with are making a move itself within the network, moving from one system to another, then to another. So those files we need to analyze, like what is happening, why this is happening, all that. So different use cases or different files.
So
Now for the
based,
cyber
so
attacks,
sorry, Anuj. So
yeah.
based on the activity that the file is doing within the network or the systems, then we start identifying. अच्छा ये कुछ कर रहा है, गलत कर रहा है सिस्टम में या नेटवर्क में. That is what we see. क्या improve कर रहा है ये, किस पे क्या कर रहा है. Then we look at the impact, risk. Then we contain it. Risk assess
Uh,
करके.
Look what recently what happened, one of the case I remember. Okay, there is a file which is still even going on, that investigation is still going on. So basically add sunwan, that is name of the malicious file. So add sunwan is not widely recognized malware or virus name. It is possible it is the term is mis add sunwan. It is the same though, it's not giving in here. So what the point is, there is a malicious file which has been contained. We are not containing it. It is contained by the EDR. EDR is basically next gen antivirus. It is just like our antivirus, but having some more features, or as the name suggests, next gen antivirus. It does not work purely on signatures. It works on anomaly and behavior as well. So it has quarantined it. So basically, we don't need to quarantine it, but the file is still moving inside the systems, moving from one place to another, from there to another. Now, since it has been contained already, so that action
अनुज
we
एक
don't.
सेकंड यार, अनुज एक सेकंड. ये ईडीआर जो है वो is that a SaaS sort of application?
There is
Is it?
both of the things available. As a SaaS, it is available by the few vendors, and few vendors are providing it on prem as well.
ओके ओके. तो वो जो
They are
SaaS
basically.
एप्लीकेशन है वो जो इंट्रूजन डिटेक्ट करता है वो आईडीएस डिटेक्ट करता है जो ईडीआर, उसका नेम उस पे लिखना है यार नोट्स में. ईडीआर जो नोट उस पे ईडीआर, डी से ई फॉर echo, डी फॉर डेल्टा, आर फॉर रोमियो.
Yeah, that's correct.
ईडीआर.
EDR is endpoint detection and response.
Oh, endpoint detection response. Endpoint detection. Oh, nodes का जो. Okay, okay. I think I've come across this. Okay, okay.
EDR
We
is
rolled it
one of
up.
the
Yeah.
common EDR is CrowdStrike, that has been installed in your.
CloudStrike.
Yeah, CrowdStrike is one of them.
Yeah, that's what.
Microsoft Defender is another such EDR.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Carbon Black
yeah,
is another such EDR.
yeah. We use Defender and CloudStrike as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay,
these are the
okay.
EDR, endpoint detection response, and EDR is basically next gen antivirus, and they are centrally managed by the security guys like us. We do not install it into the laptops. That is done by the security desk team or WPT team. They're known by different names. Notations could be different by the team. They are responsible for installing it and doing the stuff. We are just having the whole view. We are those EDR, whatever activity a user did. Suppose any user try to download anything or try to upload anything, that alert will
Hmm.
generate in the EDR.
Uh-huh.
So all the endpoint, as the name suggests, as all the endpoint are majorly monitored through EDR. The laptops, the web servers, the everything, the end, which are on the end of the network, and the network devices and the EDR, they all come to SIEM, that is Security Incident and Event Management Tool, SIEM. So one of the SIM tool is Splunk, is very popular. Microsoft Sentinel is quite popular. Uh, ArcSight, IBM QRadar. So
एक
I would
सेकंड यार,
say
एक सेकंड
that
सेंटिनल यस
whole
आई
will be
यूज.
there. Whole will be there. Yeah, this is here. Log and SIM,
हम्म.
EDR, DLP, proxy, email security, vulnerability scanner. And when
नहीं,
we
मैं
talk, when I
टूल्स का कर रहा था. मैं टूल्स का प्लंक में एस आई एम का प्लंक है, सेंटिनल है, और क्या है टूल्स.
by the way, you had your morning coffee
हाँ यार, मैं सुबह सुबह ले लेता हूँ. आई यूजुअली
or
हैव
tea?
ब्लैक कॉफी. नो, कॉफी लेता हूँ मैं सुबह सुबह. तो आई एम गुड फॉर कॉफी.
Great.
So now,
So,
when you're talking about tools, sorry, when you're talking about function, I want the tools as well. I want you to rationalize or relate the tools with. Say, for example, I CIM के बारे में बोल रहा हूँ. I want you to also talk to me about the
okay,
function बोल रहा है यहाँ पे, aggregate and analyze the security data. The tools, example of tools like Sentinel, Splunk, ऐसे करके मुझे notes में वो बता मुझे. That
got
is
it.
how I rationalize. That's how I operate. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
तो जो आप सिखा रहे हो मुझे, जो आप सिखा रहे हो अभी, मैं मुझे इंटरव्यू में प्रिपेयर करने के लिए और डे टू डे लाइफ में यूज करने के लिए चाहिए मुझे.
Sure,
तो
sure, sure.
दिस थ्री वेज आई एम गोइंग टू यूज दिस. एक मेरा सर्टिफिकेशन के लिए, दो मेरे काम में यूज करने के लिए, और तीन मेरे इंटरव्यूज के लिए. तो वो है
Definitely,
थ्री फंक्शंस. रिमेंबर
definitely.
यू आस्क्ड मी अ क्वेश्चन, मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ ये. दीज आर द थ्री रीजन: सर्टिफिकेशन, two, to use in my work, and three, to prepare myself in interviews, both to
Sure.
give and to interview people,
Okay, okay.
because I
So
interview quite a lot of students as well.
I just want to finish these two topics because these two are the most important one. This will be the
Okay.
part of your. These two will be the part of the questions whether you go for interviews or
Mm-hmm.
certifications. Anyway,
Okay,
one is cyber
good.
attack because that is the basic point of cyber security. So how many types of attacks are there? What is DDoS or distributed
Mm-hmm.
denial of service? What is brute force? What is ransomware? What is DNS tunneling, DNS spoofing? And there are so many
Mm-hmm.
of them. So we need to categorize them. Okay, this is what which is happening in this type of attack. Like specifically, if I'll talk about DNS tunneling, this is mainly done by the attackers to exfiltrate the data, to take out the data theft. So that is what the core use of this DNS tunneling attack. So different attacks having different purpose why they have been executed, or I would say tactic, the motive behind the attack. So depending on the
Mm-hmm.
motive, the attack categories are different. So that is what we are going to cover in the cyber attacks that we need to cover in detail. Uh, Okay, APTs are advanced persistent threats. You might come across, or maybe not, since you're not from security. So APTs is uh, these are those threats where the attackers come inside the system without our we are not
Knowledge.
aware about it, and the attackers is already inside the system and they remain inside the system for a significant period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me.
without any, the knowledge of the security, the threat actors are already inside the system and they do the activities. You are not able to catch them for a significant period of time, say 1 day or 2 day or a week or so. So these are the APTs, advanced persistent threats, and APTs are basically not a single threat actor. They're not basically a single people go for attack. There could be one, but mostly they are launched in group, and they have been very targeted, sophisticated kind of attacks. So they targets like recently you might have heard there was disruption in the telecom industry in US. In AT&T, there was a attack happened. AT&T and all the US telecom was disrupted for a significant period of time. That was done by a APT group called as Cozy Bear, APT Group 28. So now many of the APT groups are even state funded. They're funded by the government. So there are APT groups of China, there are APT groups of Pakistan, there are APT groups of Iran, and similarly, so on and so forth. Sorry. The APT groups in Russia, they are known by APT groups 28, 36, and so on and so forth. For a little understanding of yours, I'll tell you a few of the names. So, APT 29 is the Cozy Bear, known by a Cozy Bear name. That links to Russia. Salt Typhoon is the group responsible for the attack in.
लिंक इस नोट्स में डाल दो यार.
हाँ हाँ मैं इसको सब को रखा हुआ है मेरे नोट्स पे ऑलरेडी रखा हुआ है. There, this is the overview, just the overview. Especially if you work for a firm in US, they are very much keen towards what like how it goes. So suppose ABD number 29, that Cozy Bear, they have launched an attack on the US telecom industry. So the other industries will block those uh, IOCs, indicator of attacks, those files, those IPs, which are used in that attack. So that is what the need to understand that what happened over here, over there, and what could be done to protect our organization so that the same thing will not be repeated to us. So that's why it becomes important to what is happening around the globe. We need to know that what is happening with them, because if it is happening with them, it could happen with us as well. So that's where APT becomes important. So being into the senior role, it will be quite an important thing for you to be aware about what is happening, where it is happening, and what was the to understand that how they went in, what could we have done to protect ourselves, our organization. You can ask your security guys like what we are doing or what you are doing on your part to update yourself. Likewise. So in this part, this is the quite a relevant part, cybersecurity to log analysis and event correlation. As I told you that this is what the most important thing from the security aspect, especially from the security operations aspect. This is the most important tool we use, SIEM tool. So most of the interviews, especially for L1, L2, L3, the most of the questions will be asked on SIEM. Uh, like what is the architecture of that particular SIM? The fundamental of all the SIM is same. How they work, what is the basic principle of SIEM tool, that will remain same throughout. But still there is some UI and some functionality differs from different vendors. So few of the vendors I was talking about, SIEM is stands for, if you want you can note it down. SIEM is security incident and event management tool. Security incident and event management tool. Few of the vendors, popular vendors, if I'll talk about, Splunk is one of them. The most popular one, I would say, apart from Splunk, IBM QRadar, which is made by IBM, but the name it goes
क्यों रहता है? IBM what?
QRadar, QRADAR, QRadar,
Can you spell it?
QRADAR, QRadar.
QRADAR. QRadar. Okay.
Then there is ArcSight,
Yep. Outside.
and there is Sentinel, MS Sentinel, Microsoft Sentinel. So Microsoft has Sentinel and Google has Chronicle. Okay, these are the few popular ones, and there are many, many more.
Yeah, yeah.
There
I
is,
can do research on it afterwards.
sorry.
I'll do a research on it afterwards. Yeah, I think this four
Okay,
would do me. Yeah.
so there are many more. Like sumo logic is there. Like there is
Sumo logic.
this
Huh. Sumo
sumo
logic I
logic.
thought was like a DB2 level.
Uh, this is became sumo logic is becoming very popular nowadays. अभी बहुत
Yeah,
तेजी से ना
because
वो इस्तेमाल हो रहा है कई
मैं
ऑर्गेनाइजेशन.
अभी फिलहाल I work for a company called Australia Post.
Okay.
तो थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड देता हूँ आपको मैं. Work in Australia Post as a solution architect and lead BA. तो उसमें क्या है, I mean the current event management tool, I mean the way we do event management, define event management, जो भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया पोस्ट का ऑपरेशंस हैं, every aspect of that function is considered as an event. Say for example मैं लेटर लिखता हूँ, खत लिखता हूँ, as a sender, जैसे ही मेरा खत पोस्ट ऑफिस में जाता है and it is scanned, that is considered as scanning is considered as an event. स्कैन करके स्टैम्प किया तो वो इवेंट नंबर 2. स्टैम्प करके पोस्ट मास्टर ने डेस्टिनेशन का कुछ लॉजिक बिल्ड किया, वो
Mm-hmm.
इवेंट नंबर 3 होता है. सो एवरीथिंग ऑल द वे टू डेस्टिनेशन and acknowledgement, everything from sending to receiving, every aspect of is called event. And that and there is a tool called event management or event manager, जो
Yeah.
कि SAP में इवेंट मैनेजमेंट टूल है फिलहाल. The incumbent is in SAP. And the time came when we had to resubscribe to SAP's event management. They quoted a number. They quoted in excess of few hundred million. तो हमारे सीनियर मैनेजमेंट ने बोला नहीं यार इतना बहुत महंगा है, we can't resubscribe to this. So we just will try and move over. तो गूगल भाई लोग आए all the way from America and they go नहीं यार ये तो we can do this in like less than 3 months. 6 साल पहले की बात है ये. Less
Mm-hmm.
than 3 months में हो जाएगा ये. We deploy some microservices, bang 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 GCP में डालो इसको, सारे functions हम event manager के सारे functions हम 3 महीने में कर सकते हैं. मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेच एज स्ट्रेच 6 months में करेंगे. 3 वेंडर्स आए एक के बाद लास्ट 6 years में 3 वेंडर्स आए, ये फलाना नहीं है, ये फलाना ढिमकाना नहीं है. 6 साल से चले जा रहा है. SAP को हम एक्सटेंशंस पे एक्सटेंशंस दिए जा रहे हैं बिकॉज दे वांट टू अप एंड लीव.
Mm.
बिकॉज वो आफ्टर से एंड ऑफ द लाइफ पे एज ए लेगेसी प्लेटफॉर्म वो सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. SAP wants to पल्लू झाड़ना चाहता है. They don't want to
Huh.
stay along with us because we're not resubscribing to them. तो
Okay.
हमने एक्सटेंशन पे उसको 3 साल का एक्सटेंशन दिया, अभी 5 साल का एक्सटेंशन कर दिया बिकॉज 6 साल से चले जा रहा है. एंड लास्ट ईयर वाज द लास्ट फाइनल एक्सेप्ट फाइनल दिस थिंग. इस अक्टूबर में टेक्निकली GCP का EMR इवेंट मैनेजमेंट रीइमेजिन करके वी आर रीप्लेटफॉर्मिंग ऑल द SAP इनटू GCP. तो उसमें हमने सुमो लॉजिक जो DB पार्ट है, ऐप कंप्यूट DB, द ऐप वेब एंड DB. सो जो DB पार्ट है, जो एनालिटिक्स है, वो सुमो लॉजिक से रेंडर कर रहे हैं हम.
Okay.
जो भी हमने क्वेरी करना है नॉन एसक्यूएल डेटा, एसक्यूएल डेटा, हम सुमो लॉजिक से निकाल रहे हैं. तो आई मीन आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट थिंग, दैट्स द रीजन आई वाज सेइंग. तो वी यूज लॉट ऑफ स्प्लंक, वी यूज लॉट ऑफ क्रॉनिकल यूज नहीं करते हम. यस वी डू एक्चुअली गूगल क्रॉनिकल यूज करते हैं और सुमो लॉजिक. सो आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन यू मेंशन दैट, सो दैट्स द रीजन आई वांटेड टू गिव यू द बैकग्राउंड. Okay, keep going, keep going.
Okay. So basically, that you told me the whole story, what I can understand, or how you can actually relate to it. Like, this is initially SIEM was not a security tool.
Mm.
It is an event management tool. Look, all the companies from the compliance point of view, they need to retain the logs that what activity is being done. Like
Mm.
everything you was talking about, like every activity is noted down as events, and those events will be collected for a specific period of time, for say 90 days or 180 days.
Huh.
So initially this event management services being provided. So that's what how the words come. This is actually a combination of two tools, SIM and SEM. SIM is security incident management and security event management. When they combine together, it becomes
Mm.
security incident and event management. So
Mm.
what happens over the time when they realize, the vendors realize, when we are collecting the logs, then why don't we make a arrangement, we just make some rules, and if any conditions met with those rules, we'll generate an alert, and from there onwards you can carry on, that whether this alert is a true positive or is it a false positive, and what actions need to be taken, that depends. So I will give you an alert because I have the whole visibility, because all the
Hmm.
events will be collected from different sources, right? From all the endpoints, from all the network devices, from all the firewall security devices. Other security devices are also being integrated with SIM. So SIEM is basically integrating all the tools, and it will collect the logs. So that is important from the compliance perspective as well. So even if you are not using SIM as a security tool, it will be there as a event management as you're talking about. So Sumo Logic is one of them. There is one more popular, Wazoo is there. There is this logarithm is also there. Logarithm. So this is how they differ. SIM and EDR. These are the two important tools. SIM is the most important, as I told you. EDR is second most important because it gives the visibility of all the endpoint devices, all the laptops the employees are using, all the web servers, all the email servers, and everything which is in the end of the network. That will be covered through the EDR. There will be a EDR that will give you an alert. Okay, this file is being executed, which is having a signature of a malware. This malware. Okay, someone is uploading this much amount of data to their cloud. So that could be potential data exfiltration. So any activity which is done in the endpoint, um, that will be logged and collected and alerted using EDR. And EDR is even go one step ahead, and it can take actions on its own. Suppose there is a file
हाँ.
which is having matching a signature of a malware, so it can quarantine the file on its own. You don't need to take the action on your own.
रूल्स बिल्ड करके वर्क फ्लो बिल्ड कर देंगे उसके ऊपर.
Yes. So
रूल.
this is responsible for taking action, but SIM tool does not take action on its own. For that, we need SOAR. Now we're talking about SOAR. SOAR is like
और इस पहले
SOAR, security orchestration, automation, and response. So it's basically automates the process of detecting, investing, and responding to cyber threats.
ओके वर्क फ्लो आपका वर्क फ्लो पे डिपेंड करता है.
हाँ,
सो बेसिकली जो वर्क फ्लो में डिफाइन करूंगा रूल पे, इस रूल को मैच करेगा तो उस एक्शन लो.
action
both
ले.
EDR and SOAR and EDR are pretty similar.
Yes. SIM do not take action. Simply SIM will give you an alert, and you need to work on it, whether it is true, false, whatever it is.
Okay.
That's SOAR is not a replacement of SIM. Rather, they will work complementing each other. So I was talking about the SIM tool, and I was checking that SOAR is basically a complement to SIM. How it works, like SIM will collect the logs and it will generate the alerts. Output of SIM will be the input of SOAR. So you
Okay.
see, SIM will generate the alert. Afterwards, the SOAR will take care, like automation of the process of detection and even the response to
Okay.
somehow.
Any
So it will
EDR,
be
I
a
mean,
threat to
SOAR
drop
is one
for
tool.
these.
Any EDR will pick it up. Any EDR tool will pick it up. SIEM का जो इनपुट है उसका जो सॉरी SIEM का जो आउटपुट है उसके
वो
उसके
शोर के
बेस्ड
लिए
ऑन हाँ बेस्ड ऑन इट्स रूल. सो EDR को नोटिफिकेशन भेजेगा और अलर्ट
no,
के
not
हिसाब
EDR,
से.
not EDR, SOAR.
So SOAR is EDR tool, right?
No,
SOAR
it
एक
is
EDR की तरह काम करेगा ना.
but EDR will be only restricted to the endpoints like laptops and servers and all.
हाँ 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 हाँ.
Won't
तो
applicable to
उसी को
the.
कंफाइन करेगा ना. अगर से फॉर एग्जांपल एक एक ग्रुप में एक वर्क ग्रुप में एक ने कुछ अजीब से फाइल्स या शेयर पॉइंट से बहुत सारे फाइल्स कॉपी करके उसने अपने क्लाउड पे डाल दिया. से ही वाज ट्राइंग टू डू दैट. तो सीम के SIEM का जो रूल है, ओके, नो अपलोडिंग ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स और डाउनलोडिंग ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स एक रूल है. तो जैसे ही इस यूजर नंबर आउट ऑफ द 10 यूजर्स इन दिस वर्क ग्रुप एक यूजर नंबर 2 ने वो किया है, तो पहले आइडेंटिफाई करेगा, नोटिफिकेशन भेजेगा। तो ईडीआर क्या करेगा, उसको वो ब्लॉक करेगा, उसको बोलेगा नो एक्सेस, कॉन्टैक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर।
दैट्स
तो
करेक्ट।
ईडीआर करेगा, है ना, वो ईडीआर
करेक्ट।
करेगा,
करेक्ट।
है ना।
करेक्ट। करेक्ट। ये तो
सो
ईडीआर करेगा।
हाँ,
ये तो ईडीआर
तो
करेगा।
ईडीआर में सोर भी हो सकता है, इट कुड बी समथिंग एल्स लाइक सोर।
Not exactly. SOAR is altogether a different platform.
ओके 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 ओके।
So how it will be like? Suppose there is IDS and it has detected a signature
Intrusion detect, yeah.
in the network.
Mhm.
Now EDR is goes out of the equation, because EDR will work only on the endpoint devices. There is no action will be taken on the network devices, network level. Visibility EDR को है ही नहीं। तो
ओके ओके।
वहां पर सिम और सोर ही काम करते हैं। मतलब सोर जो है वो सिम के जो प्रोसेसेस हैं उसको ऑटोमेट कर रहा है,
हाँ 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 हाँ।
और ईडीआर जो है वो ईडीआर को आप बहुत हद तक एक एंटीवायरस ही मान सकते हो, कि हमारे लैपटॉप्स के अंदर एंटीवायरस होता है। सो व्हेन आई कनेक्टेड अ यूएसबी, इट कंटेन्स वायरस, तो वो स्कैन करेगा एंड देन फाइल को डिलीट कर देगा, ब्लॉक कर देगा।
अच्छा, एंड पॉइंट के ईडीआर जो एंड पॉइंट पे ही काम करेगा,
एग्जैक्टली।
नेटवर्क लेवल पे काम नहीं करेगा वो।
नहीं करता।
तो
सो
अगर मैं
दैट्स
शेयर पॉइंट, एक यूज केस है, मैं शेयर पॉइंट से ज्यादा फाइल्स अपलोड कर रहा हूँ,
हाँ जी।
या शेयर पॉइंट से ज्यादा फाइल डाउनलोड कर रहा हूँ मेरे
यस।
यूएसबी
यस।
में या मेरे डेस्कटॉप पे, ताकि मैं डाउन द लाइन मैं अपने गूगल पे, जीमेल पे या किसी पे ट्रांसफर करूँ। तो जैसे ही डाउनलोड कर रहा हूँ तो एक अलर्ट भेजेगा, जो है
हाँ।
सी SIEM, वो अलर्ट रिकग्नाइज करेगा। ओके,
करेक्ट।
टिल
करेक्ट।
द
करेक्ट।
टाइम व्हेन आई एम डाउनलोडिंग इट ऑनटू माय डेस्कटॉप, वो ठीक है। SIEM को पता चलेगा कि मैंने डाउनलोड किया है, और
हाँ।
जैसे ही मैं जीमेल में फॉरवर्ड करने वाला हूँ, तब एक नोटिफिकेशन भेजेगा सेइंग हैंग ऑन, इसने डाउनलोड किया है, ये फाइल्स बाहर भेजने वाला है। तो वो
हाँ।
कौन करता है, सोर करता है कि ईडीआर करता है?
वो ईडीआर करता है, बिकॉज दैट एक्शन यू आर टेकिंग फ्रॉम योर लैपटॉप एंड पॉइंट,
ओके 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 ओके
so
ओके।
that could be
तो
restricted by the EDR.
नेटवर्क का एग्जांपल दो, अभी नेटवर्क का एग्जांपल दो, सेम अगर नेटवर्क से कौन करेगा दोनों?
Network के case में I was giving the example like I was talking about the firewall or the say there is a packet which is passed by the
मलेशिया।
firewall
ओके, हाँ
but
हाँ, ओके।
matched a rule which is found to be malicious. मतलब जो signature है वो malicious signature से match किया, but somehow it makes it through to the firewall.
It makes it way through the firewall.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So then we'll get an alert on the SIM that uh, SIM in the alert will be the output for the output is the alert, that will
Mhm.
be the input for SOAR. Now SOAR will take first detect, then investigate, और अगर उसको लगता है कि हाँ ये सही है तो उस पैकेट को डिस्कार्ड कर देगा। That
Okay,
action
it won't let it
SOAR can
pass.
take.
उसका हेडर और फुटर को ट्रैक करके इट विल जस्ट स्टॉप द पासिंग,
Yes.
जहाँ पे है वहीं पे रोक देगा वो।
Yes. तो
ओके।
बेसिकली अभी जो काम हम लोग कर रहे हैं मैनुअली, सॉक L1 L2s, so it is being said that if SOAR is still uh, evolving, and most of the organizations are not using it, and slowly and gradually they are moving towards it. So if SOAR will be in its full capability, it will certainly take up the
न्यूज
jobs of
L2s,
L1, if not
L1
L2,
L2। हाँ, तो
if not
AI
L2.
मेरे ख्याल से AI, AI को ढंग
AI
से
is
आप
also, that's another level of threat. AI is another level of threat. That's an altogether a different thing. Because what is the problem with SIM? Because SIM does not take any of the action. It just give you an alert. Okay, this is happening. Now you check, you decide, you do whatever you want to do. That is what SIM does. So manual intervention becomes important every time you are getting alert, and then you need to, and that's why it is 24/7. Most of the organization having the cybersecurity monitoring 24/7, because attackers won't wait. Okay, night it is or it is Sunday, so that's why it is 24/7, 365 days. So what we are getting continuously alerts. The number could be vary depending on how efficiently it is being implemented. So During the working hours, there might be some false positives, like people are trying their passwords. It happens, people forget their passwords, because especially in organizations where they have 60 days policy, password change policy, and that too you cannot use this and that. So at times they change the password quite frequently, and they forgot it. So many a times we get an alert, a simple alert. It is the most basic alert we get, that one such example of the alert: if any of the user try to authenticate himself, and if he uh, is trying to get failure for say 10 times within a minute, these numbers can differ. 5 times within 2 minutes, or so and so forth. So these are called as aggregator. So depending on the aggregator, there will be alert generated. Okay, this is the user. He is trying to log in into this host, and he has done this much of failure attempts. So this is quite a noisy alert, which we'll mostly get depending on the size of the organization. If there are 30,000 employees, they have 1 lakh employees, these alerts are even more. So that is what SIM does. SIM does just give you an alert. You need to work on that. Now, in this particular case, if I'll talk about, I need to contact the user. Okay, what happens? I can also check that when the user has changed his or her password. If it is recently changed, then it is quite understandable. Okay, fine. And we'll also check there is no other user activity, like user not trying to get inside any other system, or certainly not exfiltrating the data. So it's not a major threat. It's the user only, and this is how we mitigate it. So basically, SIM, SO, and EDR. EDR is endpoint device, endpoint detection and response. It is just like an antivirus, a better antivirus, I would say. Next gen antivirus, what we call it. So as I told you that CrowdStrike and Microsoft Defender and Carbon Black, these are the popular EDR you will come across. Endpoint detection response. CrowdStrike, you are aware. Microsoft Defender, you might be aware. Carbon Black is another such EDR is there. Now, the next tool is email security tool, which is also called as IESS, Integrated Email Security Solution, which is basically email. Every company has its email server. Uh, that email server is connected to the email gateway. Just before it, there is an email gateway. So any email from the company domain is going outside or coming inside. That has to go through that gateway, email gateway. Now that email gateway logs every information. Okay, this much mails received from this sender, this much mails has sent to these addresses. Mostly the internal communication, if within the organization the communication happens, it is less prone to be a threat. uh, but whenever the communication happens outside, whether the outside any outsider sending a mail to us, or we are sending an email to outside, so all that needs to be logged. So many of the email security solution, like actually Microsoft provides a E5 suite in which it contains 5 things, which is called as M365. M365 consists of security for cloud, security for identity, security for email. There's two more things it includes. In my current organization, we are using M365. It is earlier called as O365, Office 365. Now it is Microsoft 365. Subscription service. Okay. So it contains typically includes desktop, web, and mobile versions of Word, Excel, Power. Okay, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, everything will be included. That is Office and Outlook, along with cloud storage like OneDrive and other apps and services. Copilot will also be there. From security, advanced security features including ransomware protection for files and photos. So defender point and defender for endpoint. This is the EDR. It works as EDR. Defender for Office 365. So any activity, email activity, that is defender for O365. So email, when it comes to email security, there are vendors like Proofpoint. You might have come across Proofpoint, or there is Mimecast.
Minecast, yes.
Mimecast I have used, Proofpoint, and Defender for O365. These are popular tools. So it will, flag every what it does. There is a question which has been asked to me, one of the interviewer. That is a very interesting question he asked me. You see, any mails are coming or going outside. Suppose there is a malicious sender, and which has been already reported to the vendor. So vendor will block it itself, or if it found anything inside the mail, any malicious attachment, so it will analyze any email coming or going out itself, and on the basis of it, it can take the decision. It will block the email on itself or quarantine the excuse me. So it can quarantine the or block the sender. So while in the organization, are you aware? I'm sorry, Neil. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so I was asking that are you aware which email security platform is used in your organization? Because while receiving the emails, you might have come across that this email is being quarantined by Proofpoint, by Mimecast. So if some external sender sends some of the malicious kind of email, which might or might not be, but it identified that it as a phishing mail or spam. So it, even it happens in the Google as well. Gmail spams the email depending on filtering the rules.
Mm.
So it can actually read the mm, these attachments, and attachments, what type of attachment, if there is a script in the attachment, it can read it out and it can certainly quarantine it. There is a difference between quarantine and block. If it is blocked, it is blocked. Quarantine means you can release it if it is related to the business activity, that might be possible that due to certain things it don't understand, uh, so it has quarantined it. So if it is quarantined, you can
Microsoft
ask for
Defender.
releasing it. You might have
It is
done it, or
Microsoft Defender. Yes.
yeah.
वो Microsoft Defender में जाता है.
Okay, Defender you are using. Okay. So email security is another such tool. We are closely monitoring. Now, what is the use case we are talking about? So recently what happens, we have received a mail which contains a PDF. In that PDF, there is a QR code. That QR code is actually redirecting to a URL which is malicious URL.
Malicious. Malicious. Okay.
So what our work is to analyze that phishing mail, like from which sender it is coming to. So what we'll do, we'll block the sender. We'll block the sender
नहीं,
over here.
वो ईमेल सिक्योरिटी में आता है कि वो एसआईएम में आता है. वो एसआईएम नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई इट फर्स्ट. आइडेंटिफाई करके बोलेगा कि मैं टेस्ट करता हूँ इसको पहले. इसमें एक यूआरएल लेवल का एक क्यूआर कोड है. वो क्यूआर कोड को टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा वेदर इट इज आइडियल रूट और ये कहीं और अनआइडियल रूट में कहीं ले जा रहा है ये. तो वो एसआईएम करता है कि ईमेल सिक्योरिटी थर्ड लेवल में आता है.
वो ईमेल सिक्योरिटी करता है. अब
ओके.
एसआईएम कब वो करेगा, या वो उस केस में तो रादर एक्चुअली ईडीआर करेगा कि अगर किसी यूजर ने किसी यूजर को वो मेल डिलीवर हो गई है, उसने वो पीडीएफ डाउनलोड कर लिया है, उसने वो क्यूआर स्कैन कर लिया है और स्कैन करके जो लिंक है उस पर क्लिक कर दिया।
वो
तो
ईडीआर में जाएगा। हाँ, वो
हाँ,
ईडीआर
क्योंकि वो
काउंट
अपने
करेगा।
एंड पॉइंट अपने लैपटॉप से उसने वो
हाँ।
एक्टिविटी करी है, तो यहाँ पर वो फ्लैग हो जाएगा कि भैया देखो ये जो यूजर है इसने ये मलिशियस यूआरएल पे क्लिक किया है। अब आगे देखो अगर जरूरत पड़ती है तो इसको कंटेन कर लो फिलहाल के लिए। कंटेन करने का ऑप्शन यहीं पर आता है, क्राउड स्ट्राइक में होता है
ओके
कि
ओके।
आई कैन कंटेन
हाँ।
दैट यूजर फ्रॉम द नेटवर्क फॉर नाउ, सो दैट नो लेटरल मूवमेंट विल बी देयर एंड इवन इफ इट इज रिक्वायर्ड तो फिर वो पूरा वाइप ऑफ भी कराना पड़ता है सिस्टम, इट हैपेंस एट टाइम्स
ओके
कि पूरा पूरा लैपटॉप हम उसका वाइप ऑफ कराएंगे, फिर रिकवरी बैकअप अगर कुछ है तो वो हम वापस से रिस्टोर कराएंगे एंड लास्टली एक बार फिर से स्कैन करेंगे कि कहीं कुछ और तो नहीं रह गया। तो स्कैनिंग कुड बी डन फ्रॉम हियर ओनली,
ओके।
ईडीआर यूजिंग मैनुअल स्कैन, नॉन डिमांड स्कैन। तो हम यहाँ से स्कैन कर सकते हैं किसी डिवाइस को कि कहीं कुछ है तो नहीं, कोई एक्टिविटी कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं
So
है।
I mean, the way I can understand is SIM is gate one, gate two is EDR, gate three email specific attachments, और email में जो header में footer में subject में जो आ रहे हैं वो email security third level है ये।
या या
Okay, yeah,
एंड देन 4 and 5
okay,
proxy and DLP. So email security taken by the email, right? Then there is proxy. Proxy is basically all the web related activity.
okay.
What I mean,
मतलब
if you in companies we generally block the adult content. We don't want adult content to be accessed in the inside the company or social media websites or job searching websites. So we need to block that particular URL. Okay, no one should go to this URL and content as well, not only URL but as well as the content, like anyone typing porn or job search simply, so that should not he should not get any results, or that need to be filtered. That is done by the proxy, web proxy. It is called as web proxy.
वेब प्रॉक्सी फायरवॉल में डिप्लॉय करते हैं कि वो लेवल
that
4 में
is
आता है वो?
that is a type of firewall which is called as WAF, web
ओके,
application firewall.
फायरवॉल
That
वेब।
is a particular firewall which works up to level 7, but
तो प्रॉक्सी इज बेसिकली वैफ।
no. WAF
ओके।
is basically what firewall does. The basic principle of firewall is packet filtering. Any
हाँ।
packet which is coming and going, so it filters the data which is going out and in.
हाँ 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 हाँ।
Now I'm talking about the proxy. So what I am doing is anyone typing www.facebook.com, so that should be blocked. So I'll block that facebook.com in here in web
ओके।
proxy. So anyone who's trying to go to Facebook or maybe Netflix or Instagram, anything.
डिफरेंशिएट एक सेकंड यार। जो फायरवॉल और प्रॉक्सी में डिफरेंस क्या? एक पैकेट्स को आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको ऑथेंटिकेट करके वो आगे पीछे करता है, इनवर्ड या आउटवर्ड फायरवॉल कर रहा है। प्रॉक्सी इज बेसिकली डोमेन लेवल, जो कि डोमेन लेवल में डॉट कॉम के बाद पहले जो भी आ रहा है उसको स्निफ करके बोलेगा ये एक्सेस है, ये वाइट लिस्टेड है, ये ब्लैक लिस्टेड है, एक्सेस नहीं देने का।
That's correct.
और
That's correct.
ऑथेंटिकेशन भी वही उसी से करेगा, प्रॉक्सी में ही ऑथेंटिकेशन करेंगे और फायरवॉल में भी ऑथेंटिकेशन होता है। ऑथराइजेशन
Yes.
ऑथेंटिकेशन फायरवॉल में, प्रॉक्सी में होता है।
हाँ.
ओके, ब्यूटीफुल।
Though there is a difference. Authentication तो नहीं होगा, authorization होगा. Authentication is basically using, you are proving your identity.
हाँ
Uh,
हाँ
authentication could be there in some
हाँ,
cases.
एग्जैक्टली ये इंटरचेंजेबल है ना, ऑथेंटिकेशन
हाँ,
ऑथराइजेशन।
हाँ,
वो लेवल 1 लेवल 2 का ऑथराइजेशन होता है, ऑथेंटिकेशन इज बेसिकली ऑथराइज करना है। प्रॉक्सी फायरवॉल दोनों इंटर रिलेटेडली यूज करेंगे।
interchange.
एक
So
एक
many a times
पैकेट्स का।
you get it, like जब भी आप अपने लैपटॉप से facebook.com आप टाइप करोगे तो वो जो आपको एक मैसेज आएगा कि दिस इज बीइंग ब्लॉक्ड बाय ईदर फायरवॉल सेटिंग्स और प्रॉक्सी। वो वहां पे दोनों
हाँ
चीजें लिखी आती है
हाँ।
कि दैट्स व्हाई योर क्वेश्चन इज क्वाइट वैलिड एंड दैट्स वेरी करेक्ट क्वेश्चन, लाइक कि क्योंकि ये एक्टिविटी एक्चुअली हम दोनों के थ्रू कर सकते हैं, बट यूआरएल ब्लॉकिंग वी गो थ्रू प्रॉक्सी बिकॉज
Okay, let me
हाँ
let me add complexity to it, Anuj. DMZ, अगर मैं DMZ में हूँ, say for example I have some apps in the DMZ, तब ऑथराइजेशन आएगा, बिकॉज मैं डीएमजी में कुछ
करेक्ट।
डीबीस रख रहा हूँ, कोई लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल पीआईए रिलेटेड, पर्सनली आइडेंटिफाइबल इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड, एक डीएमजी में उस एप्लीकेशन के डीबीस रखा है मैंने।
हाँ।
ओके, यूजर नेम, पासवर्ड्स या
यस।
सीक्रेट्स, गूगल के सीक्रेट्स उसमें डालता हूँ मैं। तो
यस।
उसमें ऑथराइजेशन की जरूरत होगा, ऑथेंटिकेशन
एग्जैक्टली।
आएगा फायरवॉल के थ्रू, प्रॉक्सी के थ्रू, बट डीएमजी के में जाने के लिए ऑथराइजेशन चाहिए होगा,
करेक्ट।
है
करेक्ट।
ना? तो
100%।
दैट्स हाउ आई
100%।
डिफरेंशिएट
या।
डीएमजी, प्रॉक्सी, फायरवॉल। प्रॉक्सी फायरवॉल बाहर वाले हैं, ऐसे लाइक दे डोंट गोइंग टू द ऑथराइजेशन की तरफ जाएंगे नहीं। ऑथेंटिकेट हुआ, ये यूजर के लिए एक्सेस है, ओके facebook.com, प्रॉक्सी बोलेगा नहीं यार तेरे का एक्सेस नहीं इसका, फेसबुक इज नॉट अलाउड, और seek.com.au, naukri.com.au, jobs.com, दिस थिंग ऑथराइजेशन नहीं है आपका, और
या दैट्स गुड।
ऑथेंटिकेट नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं आपको, आपका यूजर नेम पासवर्ड ऑथेंटिकेटेड है, बट इवन दो ये ऑथेंटिकेटेड, आपको एक्सेस नहीं इसका, कॉन्टैक्टेड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, वो क्लासिक नोटेशन है वो, तो समझ में आ गया मुझे।
या। And on top of it, why proxy is different than firewall, that it can even blocks the content, as I was talking, which can never be done by the firewall.
अच्छा, ओके,
Content, I mean, if I adult content, I
हाँ
can
हाँ
block,
हाँ,
because how many
अच्छा,
websites you are going to block for? How many websites you are one by one you are blocking every
हाँ
single
हाँ
website? So how is it possible that there are, say, hundreds of thousands of websites? So how is it possible from security point of view to block those 1000 websites? So it can even filter the content, proxy. I mean,
अच्छा,
that word, it will work on those words as well.
तो व्हाइट लिस्टिंग यहाँ पे होता है,
ये वाइट लिस्टिंग यहाँ पर होता है।
प्रॉक्सी पे
यूआरएल्स की
होता है,
जो वाइट लिस्टिंग होती है ना, जब भी आप बोलते हो कि मुझे ये यूआरएल एक्सेस करना है, दिस
हाँ
ब्लॉक
हाँ,
इन द प्रॉक्सी, मतलब ये ब्लॉक हो रही है, मुझे ये यूआरएल एक्सेस करना है, तो वो वाइट लिस्टिंग यहाँ से होती है।
ओके ओके
और
ओके ओके
ब्लॉकिंग भी यहीं से होती है।
ओके
मतलब
ओके,
ब्लॉकिंग भी यहीं पे होती है। जैसे ईमेल का मैं एग्जांपल आपको ले रहा था कि एक सेंडर से मुझे ईमेल आई, और उसमें एक अटैचमेंट थी, अटैचमेंट के अंदर एक स्कैनर था,
वो
स्कैनर
एसएमटीपी लेवल, एक ये मेल सिक्योरिटी जो है एसएमटीपी लेवल में आएगा,
ईमेल एसएमटीपी पे रन करेगा।
एसएमटीपी
करेक्ट।
लेवल पे होगा, ये
100%।
डोमेन लेवल पे होगा, प्रॉक्सी डोमेन
एग्जैक्टली।
लेवल पे होगा,
एचटीटीपी
फायरवॉल
एचटीटीपीएस।
फायरवॉल कंटेंट पे लेवल पे होगा, पैकेट फिल्टरिंग फायरवॉल पे होगा, डीएमजी एक्सेशन लेवल पे होगा। ओके सर, ये समझ में आ गया।
एग्जैक्टली। सो बेसिकली डीएमसी इस कंसेप्ट इज कि जो भी कंपनी का आउटवर्ड फेसिंग चीज है, जो भी पब्लिक फेसिंग है,
हम्म,
वो हम डीएमजी में रख देंगे, और
ओके,
बाकी जो इंटरनल है उसको हम अलग रख देंगे। तो बेसिकली वो जो हम नेटवर्किंग कंसेप्ट में जाएंगे, तो दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ द नेटवर्क सेगमेंटेशन, एंड दैट
सब
इज
सब
अगेन।
मास्क करके, सबनेट करके उसको डीएमजी में डालेंगे, एक सुपरनेट करके एक्सटर्नल फेस में करेंगे।
हाँ, जो भी एक्सटर्नल फेसिंग है, जितने जितने हमारे मेल सर्वर्स हैं, क्योंकि मेल सर्वर से बाहर भी मेल जा रहा है, हमारे वेब
हम्म
सर्वर्स हैं, तो जो भी हमारी ऐसी जैसे प्रॉक्सी सर्वर्स हैं, तो
हम्म
वो सारे हमारे डीएमजी में हम रख देंगे। सो दैट इफ इन, क्योंकि वो पब्लिक फेसिंग है तो वो ज्यादा वल्नरेबल है, तो पहला चीज तो इस पे अगर कुछ हो रहा है तो उसको हमको हैंड मतलब अच्छे से देखना है कि डीएमजी में जो भी चीज है, इसके ऊपर अगर कुछ भी एक्टिविटी हुई है तो उसमें हमको, प्लस उसमें हम जो ऑथराइजेशन की बात करें कि लिमिटेड लोगों को हम ऑथराइज करेंगे डीएमजी में एक्टिविटी करने के लिए।
हम्म
एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट, कि अगर इन केस फिर भी कुछ आ जाता है, तो
हम्म
हमारा जो इंटरनल नेटवर्क है वो हमारा सेफ रहेगा, क्योंकि वो सेपरेटेड है। सो दैट इज व्हाट द
हम्म
कंसेप्ट ऑफ डीएमजी, डीमिलिटाराइज्ड जोन, सो दैट everything which is outward facing, which is connected to the external network, which is internet basically, तो जो इंटरनेट से सीधा कनेक्शन है वो सारा डीएमजी के अंदर जाता है।
तो मैं एक एग्जांपल दूं, मैं एक काउंसिल में काम करता हूँ, से फॉर एग्जांपल लोकल काउंसिल में, यहाँ पे कोई लोकल काउंसिल में काम कर रहा हूँ, और मुझे रेट्स एंड रेवेन्यू का एक एप्लीकेशन है मेरा, रेट्स एंड रेवेन्यू का, जहाँ पे जो ओनर्स है मेरे घर के, मेरे मेरे पोस्ट कोड में, मैं आई एम ट्राइंग टू रैशनलाइज इट विद माय यूज केस। तो
या।
मेरा 3175 पोस्ट कोड में जितने भी घर घर हैं, इस एप्लीकेशन का फंक्शन है, जितने भी 3175 में हाउस ओनर्स हैं, उनको उनके लैंड रेट्स पे करना है, उनके वाटर और गैस के रेट्स पे करना है। तो ये ऐप क्या करेगा, पहले तो हर एक DPID बोलते हैं इसको। DPID इज बेसिकली डिलीवरी पार्सल आईडी।
ओके
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ना एक एक जियो सेंट्रिक लोकेशन को DPID मिलता है,
हाँ
डिलीवरी पार्सल आइडेंटिफायर।
ओके ओके
ओके, तो हर एक घर जो है उसको सब डिवाइड किया है तुमने। तो से फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा घर है, जो मेरा 2 यूनिट्स है मेरे घर पे, से फॉर एग्जांपल, तो यूनिट 1 का एक डिफरेंट DPID होगा, यूनिट 2 का डिफरेंट DPID होगा। ओके,
ओके
तो
ओके
दोनों दोनों दो डिफरेंट ओनर्स हैं।
हम्म
यूनिट 1 का एक डिफरेंट ओनर है, यूनिट 2 का डिफरेंट ओनर है। तो उन दोनों को ग्रुप करके एक यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर होगा। उस यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर को दो दो डिफरेंशिएटर करेगा अंदर। ओके,
गॉट इट
तो लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, तो each house or each property in my 3175 locality, उनको I need to give them the owner of that property and access to pay the rates of that land. लैंड का रेट्स पे करना है। तो एक ऐप, मैंने एक फ्रंट एंड ऐप, वेब ऐप क्रिएट किया मैंने।
यस
ओके, वो मैंने मेरे www.darabin.citycouncil.com.au करके एक वेबसाइट है, उसके अंदर एक लिंक भेजा है, एक लिंक है, वो लिंक डायरेक्टली इस वेबसाइट, इस मेरे वेब ऐप में लैंड करेगा। तो वेब ऐप में जैसे अगर मुझे रेट पे करना है, इस महीने का रेट पे करना है, तो व्हाट आई डू एज मेरा जो, से फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा 4 to 6 है, मेरा मेरा DPID 4 to 6 है।
DPID या
DPID का मेरा 4 to 6 है। तो मैं जैसे ही मुझे रेट पे करना है, तो 13 अप्रैल मैं जाके लॉग करूंगा उसमें 4 to 6 का जो यूनिक आइडेंटिफायर का यूजर नेम है, पासवर्ड है, वो करके ऑथेंटिकेट किया मैंने। उसने ऑथेंटिकेट किया, ओके ये 4 to 6 का फलाना बंदा है ये। ओके, ब्यूटीफुल। तो मुझे मेरे डाटाबेस में मैंने प्रीवियस हिस्ट्री है मेरा, मैंने कितने पे किया है, कितने एरियर्स है मेरे। से फॉर एग्जांपल मई का मैंने पे नहीं किया, सॉरी जनवरी का मैंने पे नहीं किया, मैं अप्रैल में गया था और अप्रैल में लॉग इन कर रहा हूँ मैं, जनवरी का फरवरी का पे नहीं किया। तो वहाँ पे रेड दिखाना चाहिए, या एरियर्स आपके लास्ट 1 to 100 जनवरी के हैं, 100 फरवरी के हैं, मार्च का आपने पे किया, अप्रैल में आप आए हैं अभी, तो आई वोंट पे मई मार्च का जो आपने पे नहीं किया, या जो भी एरियर्स है एक्यूमुलेट करके दिखाना है मुझे। बट
ओके
इट नीड टू ऑथेंटिकेट मी कि मैं 4 to 6 का, आप यूजर नेम पासवर्ड डालो, पहले पासवर्ड ऑथेंटिकेट किया उसने मुझे।
करेक्ट
तो ये जो 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 मेरा फाइनेंशियल ट्रांसैक्शन है, वो मैं DMZ में डालूंगा ना। ऐप
एग्जैक्टली
फ्रंट एंड है
इवन
मेरा, ऐप जो है आउटवर्ड फेसिंग, एक्सटर्नल
हाँ
फेसिंग है। तो एप्लीकेशन मेरे वेबसाइट में रिसाइडिंग है, तो वो एक्सटर्नल फेसिंग है। दैट्स व्हाट यू आर रिफरिंग टू, राइट? मेरा एक्सटर्नल
दैट्स
फेसिंग प्रॉक्सी के अंदर रहेगा, या फायरवॉल के अंदर, या DMZ के अंदर, DMZ
DMZ
सिंपल
क्या
DMZ के
DMZ
अंदर रहेगा, बिकॉज मेरा जो हिस्ट्री है, हिस्टोरिकल इंफॉर्मेशन है, मुझे उसने ऑथेंटिकेट किया फायरवॉल में या प्रॉक्सी में। उसने अच्छा ये 4 to 6 का बंदा है, ये 3175 का लोकेलिटी का है, 4 to 6 का लोकेशन है इसका DPID, इसका यूजर नेम पासवर्ड टिक। ओके, ब्यूटीफुल, टिक यूजर नेम टिक, पासवर्ड टिक, ब्यूटीफुल। अच्छा, अभी आप आई एम ऑथोराइज टू सी मेरा पास्ट हिस्ट्री का ट्रांसैक्शन। तो मुझे आपने जनवरी का, फरवरी का और इस महीने का अप्रैल का, 3 महीने का 300 पे करने के लिए रेडी हो आप? यस, नो, ओके, क्रेडिट कार्ड डिटेल्स जो भी है,
यप
तो वो सारा DMZ में आ रहा है वो, ऑल्दो इट
यस
इज एक्सटर्नल फेसिंग लिंक, DMZ है वो। इज दैट द
हाँ
यूज केस? डिड आई से इट
यस
राइट?
यस करेक्ट
ब्यूटीफुल, गुड।
100% all the web applications of course क्योंकि why is it so Neil it is important to understand क्योंकि जब ये आउटवर्ड फेसिंग है तो ये सबको दिख रहा है मतलब अटैकर्स को भी दिख रहा है
हाँ
तो
हाँ
इट इज मोर वल्नरेबल टू और उसको हमको ज्यादा ध्यान में रखना है कि ये जो हमारा वेब एप्लीकेशन है इट नीड्स टू बी अपडेटेड विद द रीसेंट पैच कोई वल्नरेबिलिटी उसमें है तो नहीं तो टाइम टू टाइम हमको उसको VAPT करते रहना है क्योंकि वो आउटवर्ड फेसिंग है तो वहां से अगर जब एक लेजिटिमेट यूजर अंदर आ रहा है वो तो ऑथेंटिकेशन और वो सब करके आ रहा है बट जितने टाइप्स ऑफ अटैक्स होते हैं वो DDoS और वो जो DNS टनलिंग एंड ऑल तो
हाँ
अटैकर यूजिंग द स्क्रिप्ट अगर हमारा एप्लीकेशन वल्नरेबल होगा तो वो भी
हाँ
अंदर आ सकता है तो दैट इज ऑल्सो एडेड लेयर ऑफ सिक्योरिटी कि अगर वो आए तो कम से कम बाहर वाली जगह पे आए मतलब जो आउटवर्ड फेसिंग है ताकि हमारा जो इंटरनल नेटवर्क है जो हमारा डेटाबेस है जो हमारे इंटरनली जो हमारी चीजें हैं, वो डिसरप्ट ना हो अगर सारा
तो
कुछ एक साथ ही रख
एक
देंगे
क्वेश्चन पूछूं यार यहाँ पे, और जो हमने यूज केस यूज किया भी मैंने, जो रेट पेयर्स का जो वेब वेब इंटरफेस किया था, जहाँ पे मैं यूजर नेम पासवर्ड दे रहा हूँ 4 to 6 का डीपीआईडी का। तो
हाँ जी।
वो जो जो फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स रिसीवेबल, अकाउंट्स पेएबल और लॉस, जो फाइन्स हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अप्रैल मई जून जुलाई तक मैंने ये नहीं किया, तो लॉस, सिविक लॉस का किक इन करेगा। एक वर्क फ्लो होता है कि 3 महीने के बाद आई नीड टू फाइंड सेंड ए फाइन, सेइंग यार तुमने 3 महीने का ट्रांजैक्शन भरा नहीं, 300 के ऊपर आपको इंटरेस्ट पड़ेगा और ये फाइन है आपका।
करेक्ट।
वो जो डेटाबेस है वो सेपरेट हो जाए, बिकॉज
वो
फ्रंट एंड
इंटरनली,
जो वो इंटरनल और डीएमसी के अंदर रखूंगा कि मैं
उसको
इंटरनल।
इंटरनल नेटवर्क में रखेंगे। लेट मी शो यू
तो
वन
वो
डायग्राम।
डीएमसी में ही रहेगा कि इंटरनल
नहीं
एज
नहीं,
वेल?
डीएमसी
अगर
में
कोई
नहीं रहे, नहीं रहेगा वो,
नहीं रहेगा, ओके ओके।
नहीं रहेगा।
डीएमसी
उसको हम
क्लाउड, इज इट implicating that DMZ is a cloud virtual facing function key?
it could be, it could be. Now cloud, whether on cloud or on prem is a different story depending on the, you know well, it could be cloud depending on the now current situations. Gives me a second.
Sorry if I'm jumping too fast here. अगर you think I mean you're going to cover it down the line, तो मुझे बता दो आप।
Yeah, we will cover it down the line, of course we will cover it down the line though.
Okay, okay, beautiful.
What
तो
the point is, the cut short is, DMC is everything which is external facing, which is internet, and it could be on-prem as well as on cloud, mostly on cloud nowadays. Why? Because you see, cloud and on-prem having a altogether different story. As from the security point of view, now we talk about hybrid first thing. That means something we need to be put on cloud, some we need to put with
put on
ourselves.
prem.
What we need to put in cloud is which information which is less confidential and more, where we need more scalability. There is usually change in traffic, like in DMZ. For example, if I'll talk about IRCTC website, there is a website, there is a platform for train ticket booking. If you are aware of course, you might have done it. So there is a Tatkal timing where the traffic is way too large, and that is from 10 a.m. to 12 in the noon. So at that time, traffic increases abruptly, and after that, the traffic is normal. So that things we will be putting in the those servers we'll putting in the cloud. Why? Because we need scalability for a particular period of time. Otherwise, we will put it in on-prem. Then we need that much of bandwidth the whole time.
आजकल everything is scalable यार। I mean
Yeah.
cloud में आजकल तो सब कुछ scalable। I mean, you take it as a pinch of
But
salt.
on the
Everything is scalable.
second thing, the confidentiality when we talk about that, the most sensitive information we'll keep it ourselves, and which is of course having less amount, and the major things will be uploaded in cloud. And now even we'll talk about the multi-cloud platforms. So even in hybrid, we do not put everything on one cloud. We'll put take different services from different clouds. So that is multi-cloud platform.
Can
That
we
is
cover
what.
DLP as well? Data leak prevention.
Yeah, data leak prevention is another such tool. Like one is ForcePoint, if you are aware, that is one of the vendor for DLP. This particularly works on the flow. Although DLP can be uh, this work can be done by either proxy or firewall, because firewall actually takes that, okay, this is the source IP, this is the destination IP, I mean from where till to where the traffic is flowing, and what is the size of each packet. So it contains the how the transaction is occurring and what amount of transaction is being done. But DLP specifically flags this internal to internal, internal to external, external to internal, everything.
Because we have a clause,
Yeah, yeah.
federal
So
government
even
का एक
at
permission
cloud
provide है।
platforms, it will work. That what is being uploaded from which destination it is being uploaded, which source it is being uploaded. So DLP will take in account for data leak prevention. It is specifically, if will, in many organizations, as if in my previous organization, the USB policy was by default disabled on the office laptops. You cannot use USB in the laptop. That is being done by DLP, by the DLP policies.
Okay, okay, okay.
So if some
तो
user
DLP
want
में
to use the,
policies लिखते हैं।
yeah, data leak prevention, yeah, data loss prevention, data leak prevention is mostly called as. So data loss, data leak. So that kind of work can be done by the DLP. So if any user want to use the USB port for their project need or something, so we get their manager's approval. Okay, is this the business related activity, why it is needed, and all the justification, and then we open that particular port for a specific period of time, and then it will be blocked again. So that DLP not only you know prevents the data loss uh, from device, physical activity as well. I mean, like, the example I'm taking USB as well, and apart from USB, if anything uploaded or downloaded, so that will be prevented by DLP. So
ADFS कहाँ पे इनिशिएट करते हैं?
I'm sorry.
यूजर नेम पासवर्ड्स ADFS,
हाँ,
AD क्रिएशन कहाँ पे करेंगे हम?
AD कहाँ पर?
एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी
हाँ जी,
अकाउंट्स कहाँ पे क्रिएट करते हैं हम?
AD
कहाँ
accounts,
पे
so
क्रिएट?
that will be created in the domain controller, DCs. Domain controller servers will be there, but that will not be purely the part of us. That AD team will take care of all that. What we are closely working with them. If we need any assistance, like, if there is a user whose password is uh, multiple login failures we are getting for a particular user, then we contact the AD team, and they have the whole access of AD. We do not have the whole access of AD. We can see that what groups that user is member of. Okay, this user is member of these many groups. When this account was created, whether this account is disabled. So if we get an alert related to any authentication attempt from disabled account, so we'll talk to the AD guys. Okay, delete this account. Why this is happening? Or if we want any user to change his password in his next login, because at times we reach to the user, okay, change your password, please, but might be they will be busy with their work or whatsoever. They just ignore security guys. So at that point of time, we ask the security guys. So they have the settings, so uh, they can do that. The user need to change the password in the next login.
वो AD टीम करेगा वो.
That will be taken care by the
और
AD.
फंक्शन सो वो लेवल 1 लेवल एग्नोस्टिक टू लेवल 1 लेवल 2 वो कहाँ पे इनिशिएट करते हैं? हम प्रॉक्सी लेवल पे इनिशिएट करते हैं कि हम EDR लेवल पे इनिशिएट करते हैं कि लॉग इन SIEM पे कहाँ पे
वो सिम
इनिशिएट करते हैं?
के अलर्ट्स, मोस्टली जो सिम के अलर्ट्स होते हैं, उसके
तो
अकॉर्डिंग हम एडी के एक्शंस दिलवाते हैं.
अच्छा अच्छा, सो फर्स्ट लेवल 1 में ही होता है वो एज एन लेवल 1 लॉग्स एंड SIEM का ADFS वहीं पे होता है.
हाँ,
ऑल द फेडरेशन ऑफ ADs
हाँ,
वो
लॉग्स.
फेडरेटेड सर्विसेज यहाँ पे ही होते हैं. ओके ओके
यस,
ओके.
यस.
तो DLP हमारा ना और फेडरल गवर्नमेंट का एक स्पेसिफिक रिक्वायरमेंट है. द federal government need to be notified in the event when there is a data loss or in the event when there is a data leak. यानी कस्टमर का जो भी स्मॉल टू मीडियम बिजनेसेस के में कोई भी कस्टमर का यूजर कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुआ है तो फेडरल गवर्नमेंट को पता होना चाहिए
हम्म,
कि भाई
हम्म.
ये डीबी में वनरेबल, इट वाज फाउंड वनरेबल एंड जितने लोगों का एक्सेस कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुआ है फेडरल गवर्नमेंट को इमीडिएटली पता होना चाहिए. एंड दे शुड बी ए डेटा लीक प्रिवेंशन एक्ट 2021. इट्स एन एक्ट. तो उसके उसके अकॉर्डिंग सिस्टम को नोटिफाई, ऑटोमेटिक नोटिफाई करना चाहिए उसको फेडरल गवर्नमेंट को. एक कनेक्टर एनेबल होता है. एवरी एप्लीकेशन दैट इज अंडर अ स्मॉल टू मीडियम एंटरप्राइज उसको कैपेबिलिटी होना चाहिए कि जैसे इंट्रूजन डिटेक्ट हुआ है या
हाँ जी.
एक्सट्रूजन डिटेक्ट हुआ है उनको नोटिफिकेशन भेजना चाहिए कि इतने सारे अकाउंट्स का कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुआ है, इतना वी एज्यूम दैट दिस मच इज कॉम्प्रोमाइज. आप इससे यहाँ से आप लो, टेक इट ओवर फ्रॉम देयर. तो वो बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट वी हैव, बेस्ड ऑन द एग्रीमेंट वी हैव, बेस्ड ऑन द थ्रेट फेडरल गवर्नमेंट एक्ट करता है उस एक्ट पे. तो DLP में होता है.
Yeah, yeah. Quite like the GDPR in Europe, mostly. So general data
GDPR.
protection rule.
हाँ
We are
हाँ हाँ.
using, we are following the GDPR because, as I told you, Colt is a UK-based company. London its head offices. So that is, they are also in telecom, purely in telecom. So we are following the GDPR because even if you are working outside Europe, but you need to take in account any GDPR. So we have customers, they are involved in assigning the IPs to the customers. So at times it happens like a wrong user is mapped to another project. Now he'll be able to see the project details. That is a
Without
data
showing any
breach.
details.
Yeah, and apart from that, recently what happened, the managers are wrongly mapped. So the managers are entitled here to see your compensations.
Mm.
So when they are wrongly mapped, they are able to see the compensation of the
Yeah.
employees. So that is the
R
data
backs, P
breach.
backs, yeah. R
Yeah,
backs, P backs. Yep,
are back ABAC. So these are the things which is comes in the data breaches. Uh, okay.
yep,
Lastly, the vulnerability scanner. This is taken care by. Look, when we talk about the SOC team, they closely work with two more team. There are certain more cross-functional teams are there. Like the one team is VAPT. VAPT mostly works on our inputs or outputs, though they have a separation. This is a part of the uh, offensive security, vulnerability scanning, and penetration testing. So basically, vulnerability means any weakness which is there in your software, in your application, whether web application or any other thing. So you need
pen
to patch.
testing, yep, pen tests,
Sorry,
pen tests, yeah, penetration testing,
penetration testing. Yeah.
parallel to pay, yeah, yep, network level पे parallel to pay करेंगे, pen testing on internal network or say, yep,
Though there is a little difference between VA and PT. We commonly use this word
weakness.
interchangeably, though, but there is a little difference between VA and PT. We are the guys who, uh, you know, assess any vulnerability in the system.
Mm-hmm.
They only tell you about, okay, this is the weakness available, and might be theoretically they will tell you, okay, if this vulnerability being exploited, this much impact could happen. This is what
Mm-hmm.
VA guys will do.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to patch that vulnerability if the patch is available, or do the
Mm-hmm.
remediation. That will taken care by the particular application. So there are
Mm-hmm.
five application. They are not going to patch that application. Application will be patched by the application team only.
Uh-huh.
We are the guys who are going to tell you. For this, there are some tools which are used is Rapid 7 Nessus. Sorry, Rapid 7 Nexpose.
Rapid 7, हाँ ऐसे टाइप
Nexpose.
करो, उसके टाइप करके नोट्स नोट्स पे डाल दो ये.
So Rapid 7 Nexpose is one of the popular vulnerability scanner that will be for on-prem services. And there is Nessus. Nessus is Tenable Nessus.
Tenable, हाँ ये याद है मुझे.
So Tenable Nessus is basically for cloud-based Nessus scanner, network solution related. So there are different vulnerability scanners available, which are used by the VAPT teams uh, for scanning the vulnerabilities.
Mm.
Okay, PT, when we talk about penetration testers, what they will do, they will go one step ahead. They will actually perform an uh,
Fluent use case.
yeah, a drill actually, like
Mm.
what an attacker could have done when he could
Mm.
have come inside. So what
Yes.
is at risk? What would be the impact? So
Mm.
according to that, you can actually prioritize your vulnerabilities. Okay, this is less priority vulnerability, and this is high priority vulnerability.
Ethical hackers करते हैं.
Yeah, those are the ethical hackers, and they use different tools like Nmap, Shodan.
Ethical
Nmap
वो
is
ethical hacking करके नोट्स में डाल के वो डाल दो प्लीज.
yeah, sure.
CHSU.
H is not working.
SQL engine. कोई नहीं, हम डोंट हैव टू रियली बी फसी अबाउट स्पेलिंग, ऐसे कर दो मुझे, आप मेरा काम कर दो बस.
Haha. Shodan SH.
लिंक डाल दो वहाँ पे, कॉपी करके लिंक डाल दो बस खत्म. तो मैंने आपके लिए एक छोटा सा होमवर्क होएगा, जो आपने प्रेजेंट किया उसके सारे एग्जांपल्स यहाँ पे डाल दो मुझे। गूगल में
Okay.
जैसे कर रहे हो ना आप, उसके अगेंस्ट एक एक एग्जांपल डाल के मुझे, ताकि मैं आई कैन रैशनलाइज इट, मैं रिलेट करूँ मैं ये
Okay.
लाइफ इस पे।
Sure. Sure. Sure.
आई थिंक दिस विल बी द एग्जाम। अब मैंने ऐसे ही, आप बाकी के क्लास ऐसे करोगे तो आई बी हैप्पी, इसी
Of
रिदम में।
course.
दिस इज द रिगा आई वांट, दिस इज
Yeah.
द रिगा आई वांट यू टू बिल्ड। आप जो दिखा रहे हो उसको यूज केस बिल्ड करके उसके टूल्स, दे आर द 3 लेवल्स मुझे दिखाना है आपको।
Sure.
लास्ट
Sure.
स्लाइड है, सेकंड लास्ट है, कितने स्लाइड है और क्या है?
This
टाइप्स ऑफ लॉग्स,
Yeah,
सिस
so
लॉग्स।
basically, cybersecurity tools, log analysis, and event correlation. That is what we are doing. So basically, what we guys are doing, we get an alert. So first thing what we notice is, okay, what is the rule? If we are not aware, then what is the rule? Why? What are the thresholds? Why this alert was generated? Okay, though it is in most of the cases over the time you will get to know, but at times there are, say, 200 use cases or maybe more than that. So you might not able to actually remember that what it is, what are the aggregators. The common aggregators is simple, like for login failures you will come across on daily basis. Okay, for huge data uploaded on cloud you come across on regular basis, so those you are able to understand easily. So any such alert which is you don't come across, so first you need to look at the rule. Okay, why this alert is being generated? Okay, this is actually happened, that's why this is being generated. Okay, next is like log analysis. Log, as I told you, what sim is doing, sim collect all the logs, like the system logs, security logs, network logs, application log, every logs collected in the SIM tool. So I have the 360 visibility. That is what the usual use of SIM tool, and that is being asked usually in the interviews, that why we need SIM tool. SIM tool is not even taking any actions on its own. All the other tools are taking actions. EDR can block a virus or malware. Email security can block a sender or an email which it feels like it is not good. Proxy can even block a URL depending on the content. So every other tool is taking some of the actions, but SIM tool is not responsible for taking any action. All the actions need to be taken manually. Then what is the use of SIM tool? Why is it so important? It's important. There are many uses, but two of the most important uses are, one, for compliance use we need to collect the logs, but even more from the security perspective, it gives me the 360-degree view. It collects log from everywhere. So if I want to see what has happened, and okay, if there is some attacker which enters inside, first there is some activity happen in the network, then there is some activity happen in the endpoint, and then there is some data exfiltration. So that I want to correlate. Okay, this is how it started, and then this happened, and then this happened. So for that correlation, that is what means by event correlation.
समझ
Could
में
be
आई
provided
थिंक।
by SIM because it has everything.
ओके, ये एग्रीगेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन दिखाता है।
Yeah, it aggregates, it
360
correlates.
360 degrees aggregated information
Yeah,
दिखाता है।
yeah.
फ्रॉम एन इंट्रूजन परस्पेक्टिव, कैसे इंट्रूड किया नेटवर्क में, कैसे फिल्टर्स, कितने पैकेट्स फायरवॉल से किया, प्रॉक्सी से कैसे, इसमें कैसे क्या किया, प्रॉक्सी में वेब एक्सेस को कैसे रीच किया, वो सारे दिखाता है सी इंट्रूड।
सारा कुछ
तो
दिखाता है. So
नोट्स,
that's
वो मेरे नोट्स में डाल दूंगा सब कुछ।
ये है
ठीक
ना.
है।
So this is detection intrusion. First
हम्म,
importance of log, it will
हम्म,
detect the intrusion.
मॉनिटर
Second,
करेगा
monitor
परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ।
monitor, compliance, and perform audits. All this
ओके।
is needed for logs. And what it does is centralize security information and event management. It will
ओके।
centralize everything.
तो जो आपने एग्रीगेट बोला था सिक्योरिटी टूल्स में, वो कहीं पे भी नहीं है इस
That that will be there when we'll be discussing SIM tool separately.
ओके 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 ओके।
In under the section, this is the just the overview. In every section we'll having a whole 10 12 slides, maybe more than that. So in sim tool, when we talk about, there is core functionality which call as CLNAR. This is the abbreviation. CLNAR is, C stands for collection of logs. L stands for no. L stands for log collection. C stands for correlation. N stands for normalization. CLNAA for aggregation, R for retention. So that is what the function of SIM 2. So I'm going to tell you, this will be there. This will be there. Not to be worried. Okay, which learns from me, those who learns from me, I just tell them that whatever I told you today, just you need to revise it, and whatever we are going to discuss tomorrow, you just need to have a, basic work around it, so that it will be easy for you to understand, and also you can put questions at least. So if you have a understanding, but for you, for your cases. So in the next class we will be quickly going through the networking concepts, because you went to enter any of the, you'll do any of the certification, you want to enter any of the domain in cybersecurity, you should know the basics of networking, how hub switch routers work, what is OSI layer, what different protocols used, and like what are the IP addresses, what are private IP, what is public IP, because this is how we define the rules in firewall. This is how we define the rule in SIM. That when I'm talking about any outbound communication, outbound means anything which is happening from inside to outside.
Inside, outside. Yeah,
So
inside, out.
the
Yeah.
if the source IP is the internal IP and the destination IP is the public IP, then we can call it as the outbound, or vice versa. So depending on
Mm.
the situation, whether the communication is internal to internal, internal to external, external to internal, what
Mm.
type of communication it is. So depending on that, we can define the severity, and this is how we can proceed the investigation.
Mhm.
So this is what we are
So,
going to common networks and protocols and ports, LDAP, Kerberos working, IMAP, OP3. All this is what we are going to cover. And towards the
sure.
end, I have some questions as well. Okay, these are the few of the questions you might come across in the interviews and over there in the certificates as well.
Okay.
So how the packet flows, what is the layer 2, layer 3 devices, what is the purpose of subnetting, TCP IP, and all. Similarly, in every section I have some questions in networking in the networking security, in the security concepts everywhere. So this is what how we going to study, and I'll try to com- you know complete the course comprehensively as much as I can.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll
Sounds
get
good.